Sometimes the simplest things can work the best. But simple things aren't always seen as the best option, as the great inventor Ben Franklin found out. Well now, gather round, folks, because have I got a tale to tell you about our old buddy Ben Franklin. This man wasn't just your average genius. Oh no, he was the kind of fella who'd invent something revolutionary like the Pennsylvania fireplace, tinker around and discover electricity and polarity, whip up the lightning rod on a lazy Sunday, figure out why sweating cools you down, map the Gulf Stream for fun, and, just for kicks, throw together those handy bifocal glasses. And would you believe it? He did all this in what he called his spare time. Ben Franklin, as I say, was a brilliant man, so why, oh why, during the American Revolution, did the American colonists reject his secret weapon? Today's historians and militarists agree that if the Continental Army had used that device, we would have beaten a British sooner and more easily. In fact, Ben Franklin's weapon was so superior to the 18th century musket, and it still is in many ways so superior that it's been used effectively on battlefields as recently as the Vietnam War. So why in the world did our founding fathers reject that best weapon? Why, indeed, Franklin himself first proposed it to General Charles Lee, George Washington's second in command, in a letter to Lee, Franklin outlining the advantages, and Lee in turn passed the proposal along to a committee on munitions, appointed by the Continental Congress. Military strategists were consulted, and it's there that Ben's better idea died. But Franklin was right from the perspective of a modern military. His weapon was vastly preferable to the common, badly bored musket of his era. For example, the musket was inaccurate at 100 yards. Ben's weapon was accurate up to 150 yards, and while the musket was entirely ineffective at 200 yards, Ben's weapon was deadly at the same distance. There was also the time-consuming clumsiness of loading the old muskets, putting in the powder, the wadding and the ball took time, so consequently Ben's weapon could fire 4 times faster, and also muskets and their ammunition were hard to come by and heavy, therefore difficult to transport. Sometimes they discharged, and sometimes they did not, and even when they did, you could never depend on a musket ball to take a man down. Ben Franklin's weapon solved all of those problems at the same time it was more devastating psychologically to one's enemy. So why did the Continental Congress turn Ben down? The advice of those strategists, presumably those experts, whose military wisdom was most respected, they, you see, were inexplicably enamored of the old musket. They counseled against Ben Franklin's idea, even though today we realize he was right. Franklin's weapon was so efficient, so streamlined, so superior that our Vietnam warriors employed it widely and effectively. During our Revolutionary War, there was just one group of respected combat strategists who did see the advantage of Ben's secret weapon because they, the Native Americans, had invented it. Ben Franklin's secret weapon, the weapon that most certainly would have stopped the British in less time with less effort, was the consistently effective, reliable, lightweight, silent, smokeless bow and arrow. Make sure you like this video and remember to subscribe to our channel for updates on new videos.